Today's webinar, as it says on the screen there, is scaling up for growth. So we're going to look at some points around AccountsIQ, how we can automate things, looking at reporting, and kind of setting yourself up for growth and giving you a system that you hopefully won't outgrow as your own business continues to grow and prosper in the years to come. Just a quick agenda for today. Quick introduction to AccountsIQ. Then we're going to dive straight into a product demo covering these points here: automating tasks, multi-dimensional analysis, business intelligence, one-click consolidation, scaling up by adding new entities very fast, and of course connecting to your other business applications. If I get time at the end, there's a couple of case studies on this slide deck that I'll run through very quickly at a high level, but the recording of this call and the slide deck itself will be sent out to everyone who's on the call there this morning, and anyone who obviously can't make it but signed up as well. Just a quick bit on myself. My name is Andrew Faulkner. I'm a business development manager here at AccountsIQ. I've been with the company a little over 2 years now. Moved across to a sales role in April this year. Prior to that, I was a senior implementer on the onboarding team. So I've seen both sides of the customer journey now at this stage. So hopefully I can help join up some dots as well for you in that regard. Moving forward, AccountsIQ, who are we? Obviously, we're a cloud accounting software system. It was founded back in 2004 by Tony, who's our CEO, and Gavin, our CTO. And from the get-go, it was conceived to be in the cloud. So we've never been on premise. So that was a very fundamental decision back then, when there was very little in the way of cloud application. Early clients, and I call them clients, are probably really early adopters and testers of our system, were PwC, who are still a good client of ours today, but they really helped us develop the functionality and the feature sets that are the backbone of AccountsIQ and the success over the last number of years. We are designed as a multi-entity platform. We can consolidate in different layers. We're very good with FX, banking, or accounting, sorry, as well. But we're also just as well adapted for single entity or dual entity businesses. Another strong piece of kit we have in our arsenal from our side is we have an open API with a really strong integrations team. So Pete, who heads up our integrations team, doesn't like to say no to anything. He loves a challenge. So while we do have some out of the box integrations, we're also very much a collaborative company in terms of we will work with you and your other software providers to get those integrations. So at the end of the day, what we're really trying to get to a point with the finance function is that it's one point of input and one source of truth in terms of reporting across all your systems. AccountsIQ itself kind of sits in the mid-market. So we're not a small business platform. We tend to take a lot of clients from the likes of Xero, Quickbooks, Sage 50 and the like, or old legacy systems like PS Financials, Aggresso, etc., where they're not being supported anymore, or on those smaller platforms where they've actually just outgrown it and they're not getting the level of functionality and reporting that they need, or they're not open to, as I said, integrating with their other platforms that they're using within the businesses. What do we do well? We like to think we solve customer pain points really well. We have a great user experience with the system. As I said, we upgrade regularly new clients from Xero, Sage, Quickbooks and legacy systems. We're very scalable, and I'll show you that when we're in the system, but 2 minutes, we can set up a new entity using one of your current entities as a template, obviously. We have quite detailed multi-dimensional reporting, and that's not just at an entity level, it can also be at a group level. So if you've 5, 10, 20, 100, 150 entities in a particular geographic region or even indeed worldwide, we can consolidate all of that detail for you and give you the reporting insights that you need to run a global company like that. But again, that multidimensional reporting is also extremely powerful, even if it's a single entity business that you're running today. And the last piece there is probably quite a good one. It's like we bring clarity and automation to the finance function. So if you're using a legacy system, you probably aren't really benefiting from the amount of automation that modern finance systems can have. And that's simple things like automatic bank feeds, setting up automatic journals within the system, setting up recurring sales invoices, or again, using the power of workflow approval within the system and through people's email, so that there's no more paper sitting on desks anywhere, which is becoming harder, obviously, with a certain work from home element still continuing. And then obviously the API and the reporting tools that we have in the product. So as I mentioned, we do consolidation really, really well within the system. It's very quick, very efficient. I'll show you that when we get into the product. Our reporting and our business intelligence tools, the kind of three of these kind of really sit together very, very well. We have at an entity level, you have a very clean, clear GL structure within the platform, consists of a category, subcategory, and then your GL code. But hanging off that, then we have business intelligence coding. So you can take a particular, say, cost overhead, might be say a subcontract to web programmer that you're employing, but you can actually drill down and look at the particular projects that programmer is billing you for, and you can see those costs, and you can also load your budgets against those, not just your GL codes, but also your intelligence codes within the system. Customer success is absolutely the backbone of what we do. It is in our DNA. From the moment you reach out to us showing a curiosity about our platform and an interest in exploring the possibilities of your company using AccountsIQ, through that early customer journey till you sign a contract, and on through to the implementation, and beyond that with our support team and that. And I'll come to that now on the next slide. We have seamless integration, which I've touched upon already in terms of our API. We have a library of pre-built integrations with numerous platforms in numerous different sectors. So just to give you a few of them off the top of my head, we integrate with BrightPay on payroll. In terms of the accounts purchasing side of it, we have Kefron or Lightyear, iComplete. We have more detailed budgeting and forecasting tools with Pro Forecast, and there's numerous other ones. And if you go to the AccountsIQ.com website, there's an integrations section there, and you can see some of them. But as I said already, we also have an in-house integrations team that don't like to say no to any integration. So we will work with you on whatever your integration requirements are. Another important one for teams on the go is obviously we have an approval system within the system. And as I said, that can be done through people's email accounts, or we actually have a mobile app that works both on Android and iOS, where they can get approvals, requests coming through to them. They can see copies of, if it's a purchase order or if it's an actual purchase invoice, they can look at it, they can approve or reject it, and that can all be seen by the finance team within the system. They can see if it's been approved, rejected, they can see why it was rejected. There might be a note on the account, etc. And that's all recorded. It also gives you an audit trail of all this information come audit time at the end of the financial year. Just touching upon the customer journey with AccountsIQ, it's very much as I said, customer success is in our DNA. So as I said, from the moment you reach out with a curiosity about our platform, to engaging with myself or one of my colleagues through discovery processes, early stage demos, maybe a more technical demo, to hopefully signing a contract with us, you're then handed over to the implementation team, the onboarding team, and you're taken on a journey from early stages, designing your chart of accounts, your business intelligence coding setup, and that's a very collaborative process. The assigned implementer for your project we try to align them so they have prior sector experience. So if you're a not-for-profit or you're a tech company, we find someone who's done a lot of tech companies before and align them with you so they can bring that prior knowledge to the project. Everyone does a little bit of rework on their chart of accounts. It's inevitable over time those chart of accounts get elongated, so it's an opportunity to kind of clean it up a bit. But it's really an important point in the project, and it probably takes the longest. It's kind of like our typical project runs 6, maybe 8 weeks from when we start the implementation to when you go live. But it's an important part of getting that kind of design piece right. Then you're looking at kind of doing the setup of the environment, looking at your bringing over your debtors, creditors listing, setting up bank accounts, credit cards, etc. You then very quickly move to go live, where you start transacting in the system. You start bringing over your open balances for your creditors, debtors, monthly movements, open and trial balance, etc. That all comes in, and within all of that, your implementer stays with you for a number of weeks post go live, just to be there as a quick point of contact, and also at that stage they're intimate with your processes and the way you're operating your businesses. Then once complete, you sign off with your implementer, and then you're handed over to our support team. And for the first couple of months, you're put on a high priority list, where they react very, very quickly to your requests. Predominantly, most of those requests are around kind of further training queries and that, but you have obviously access to the support team ongoing. It's a very strong part of our offering as a company. And behind that, then you also have an account manager who will be assigned to your account, who will keep a kind of a high level view of what's happening. And you will also have the power of the product team, who are looking at our future product development at all times, and developing the roadmap and that for it. And we quite often ask our current clients if they'd like to get involved in that process. And as I said, the product team love to talk to clients at any point. They love to understand how you're using the system, your internal processes, and that on a daily basis. So yes, if you're any of our current clients, are on the call, and if you want to get involved in that, just ping us an email, and we'll absolutely get someone from product to have a discussion with you on that. So where I want to go now, very quickly, is I'm going to jump into the software demo environment, and I'm going to give you a very quick tour of some of the main points within the platform. So let me just log out of this particular entity I'm in here. Okay, so what you're looking at here is when you log into AccountsIQ, you'll be presented with whatever entities you have set up in the system. And there's a couple of different entity types. We've full, we've light entities, etc. Within it, depending on what you need for your setup. They can have different base currencies. So you have the 3 trading companies I've set up here. One is a base currency, of euros, one has British pounds, and one has US dollars. This particular group of 3 companies also has a consolidation layer, which is in GBP. So obviously we're taking the euro and the US on a console and revaluing them to GBP with the FX rates tables that are set up within the system. So I'll come back to this in a little bit, but what I want to do is just jump into one of these entities here. And what I want to do is just show you some of the tools that will allow you to just set yourself up for success within the AccountsIQ platform and growth. Very quickly, if I just open this GL Explorer screen, what you're looking at on this screen is a couple of parameters I can choose across the top. So I've chosen P&L. I'm looking at year to date. I'm looking at actual December 19. What we've got is our GL structure on the left. So I've got my category, my subcategory, and my GL code below that. And I can drill into these and see the actual transactions that in this case are making up the £9,486. What we can also do then with any of these is tag analysis codes to these in the background. Okay, so I can pick projects here, or I could pick location, say if I pick location and go New York, show me the transactions for New York, and you could see it's suddenly filtered out Dublin and London from those transactions. Skip across to London very quickly, and you have the answers to what you're looking for there. And what that is built off is what we call our dimensions and BI codes. Our dimensions, or cost centers, you might recognize them as, we have 6 of them. And obviously what you can name them is completely up to yourself. This is just a demo one, and you can have an unlimited number of elements within them. Okay, so you might have particular divisions set up that you want to analyze across, or locations that we were just looking at on the previous screen. You might have a particular project that's ongoing within the business that you need to keep track of costs on. And these codes can all be used not just for analysis of actual sales and cost of sales results, but they can also be used when you're uploading budgets into the system. And we hold two budgets within the AccountsIQ platform. We have a budget and a revised budget. So most of our clients would load up a 12-month budget at the start of the financial year, and then month on month, depending on the results, they may choose to load up a revised budget of obviously given the year-to-date results within the entity or group of entities. Just moving on quickly, dashboards. We have a number of predefined dashboards within the system. There is actually an ongoing project within AccountsIQ, which we're hoping will be released before the end of this year, where we're going to allow customization within these dashboards. But at the moment, there's a good few of them in there, and it just kind of gives you a high level view going by the titles that are on the top of the screen here. In terms of some of the tools you can use to automate within AccountsIQ, obviously I mentioned we have bank feeds. So this can connect to a large portion, probably about 90% of the banks across UK and Ireland, and banks beyond that as well, if you've entities within other parts of the world. When you connect first to the system, obviously the system doesn't know where the transactions should be going, but 4 times a day you're getting the latest transactions in, and through a process of you creating postings through the early weeks and months, the system will very quickly start to present the information in a little bit different way, in that it's starting to suggest the postings, kind of going, look, I've seen you post this type of transaction to this account before. Is this correct? And it's just asking you to check it, to a point where it sees the same transaction 2-3 times, and it's going, look, I know what that is. I know where to post it. I'm going to auto reconcile it for you. So that can speed up that side of it. On the sales ledger side of things, we have your normal things that you'd expect to see. Customers, quotes, orders can be taken through to invoicing. But just from a perspective of, again, helping speed up, if you have regular invoices that are going out every month, every quarter, every half year, we could set up recurring invoices within the system. And when you roll into a new period, what you'll see is, you can see up here, I have one invoice, recurring invoice, that I just need to check and send within the system for the current period that this demo data set is in. So the system will flag it with you, saying, you have an invoice for this month, it's a recurring one. Just either send it out straight away, or you may want to just do a small edit on it in terms of a price change or a description change, etc. On the purchases side, we have the same as our sales. We have some header accounts, we have orders, we can take them through delivery, item invoices, etc. We also have an AP inbox within the system now, where that'll allow you to actually email your invoices as you get them directly into the platform. What it'll do is the system will read the header information, so you'll get the supplier's name, the invoice number and the date, and you'll get the totals. And it won't fully read the item lines, but it'll prompt you some of them depending on the defaults you've set up. So you'll have defaults, GL codes, analysis codes, VAT codes set up for your suppliers, and you just need to update the detail for the description, price and quantity on them. They can all be sent through a workflow approval. So if you have PO or an item invoice, you can send it through an approval process. As I said, you can either do that through email, so you'd get an email in your inbox looking like this. And we also have an expense app, but if it's just a standard invoice or purchase order, whoever the approver is would get notification of it. They'll get a copy of the PO or invoice, and as I said, they can accept or reject that approval and add a note to it as well. So if you look at the item invoice screen here, the finance team can very quickly see what's been approved, what doesn't need approval, what was rejected, and what's still pending for approval. Within the system, anywhere where there's a paper clip, you can add a copy of a document. If you're using the AP inbox, the document is automatically attached to it. Anywhere where there's a notes, you can see here there's been notes added to some of these. One of my colleagues obviously been trying to be a bit funny, saying too much cake there at the end of the note as to why they rejected it. It's obviously a dummy expense claim for a fancy lunch. So it's just all these little things can help speed up the processing for finance. And obviously they can see everything, so that there's no bits of paper from an approval floating around the system or that. Just want to jump very quickly back to the supplier files on the system. Obviously, within the supplier file setup, you've all the standard sort of fields that you'd expect to see. But where we see a lot of our clients using it, we can set up 10 custom fields within each supplier or customer account. And where our clients find that very useful is where they might put in contract dates. So say, for example, your mobile phone contract with Vodafone is due for renewal on the 1st of January 23. You could manipulate this screen here. You could add in your bespoke fields into the screen. You could save it off. And if this item here was saying contract date, you could run a quick report on it, and you could say, well, look, here's 5 contracts that are due up for January. I'm going to assign that to a member of the management team, and they're going to go and renegotiate them in November ahead of time. And it means just come the 1st of January, you're not scrambling, kind of going, oh, we're not getting the best rates on our renewal contracts with our suppliers. Sorry, before moving on to purchases, we also have a batch payments screen. So within the system, you can create a batch payment. Screen opens up. You obviously select your bank account that you want to pay from, and given the parameters that you've set up on the supplier account, you can see that currently there's one invoice due for payment, 50,000. I can look at the details of the invoices that are making that up. I can decide whether I want to pay them all, or a particular one, I might just say I'm only going to pay £110 of that, so on and so forth. What the system will then give you is a file that you can download and quickly upload to your bank account, so you don't have to recreate the payments in your bank account. The system will also then email a remittance to that supplier, giving them a breakdown of the invoices that you're fully paying or part paying, and obviously they'll reconcile off on the supplier account then as well. As I said, we've done general in that. We have a fixed asset register within the system. So again, this is somewhere where you can help speed up little wins on a monthly basis. You set up all your asset classes. You can load up all your fixed assets, whether they're assets that you have currently in play when you join AccountsIQ, or they're further additions that you're buying as you go. And then on a month-on-month basis, it's a simple process within the post depreciation system, runs all the journals for you and gives you a full depreciation history reporting within the system. There's, as I mentioned, there's the approvers capability within the system, and that's on purchase orders, purchase invoices, and also on employee expenses. The employee expense app is like the approval app, works on Android and iOS, really just kind of helps gather all that paper receipts for your staff, but it also makes it easier on your staff and knowing that they can sit down, key in a receipt for a taxi, for an airfare, for an overnight in a hotel, and they can attach copy documents as proof to it. They can send it to their line manager, who hopefully will approve it or reject it. But if they approve it, it then goes to the finance team, and the finance team can then make payment depending on the credit terms that are set up for employee expenses within the system. There's a couple of other things I just want to touch on here. We have some very powerful journaling tools within the system, and these can be a simple journal. They can be entered into the system, or we have templates where you can bulk upload journals. Journals can be set to auto reverse at the start of the next period. Some of the other ones here, like deferred revenue journal, that will take a chunk of money and defer it over a number of periods. Same with your accruals and prepayments journals. They can be set to go over month on month for 12 months or longer, or 6 months, whatever parameters you want to put on it. But the nice thing is, once you set them up, unless you want to edit the subsequent journal for a particular reason, once they're set up initially, that's it. The system will just look after it. So there's no going back on a monthly process and saying, I need to now post my journals. The system will do it automatically for you. There's also, if you are operating with FX within the system, and you've FX bank accounts or suppliers or customers. There's a month-end FX revaluation journal process that can be done, and that will revalue any unsettled realized or unrealized gains, depending on the rates that you have organized within the system. And on the FX table side of things, we have a link within the system to TransferMate, so you can pull the latest FX rates from them on a daily basis if you wish. But you're also free to put in your own FX rates as well. So depending on the volume of FX transactions you're doing, some companies might take a view that they might just put in a rate for the month. If you're operating a group of companies, that can be set from the top level down as well. Very quickly, just want to jump into some reporting tools. Obviously, this is the backbone of what you're trying to do with an organization. Obviously, we've numerous reporting tools within the system. You can chop and change the data by GL code, but also by those analysis codes that were in the system. You can obviously drill down. You can look at the particular parameters I've chosen are to look at client services across the 3 locations of Dublin, London, and New York. So I can look at it at a high level, or I can drill down into the actual countries and cities and see what's going on there. All our reports can be exported very quickly to Excel and when you export them, they do hold the formatting that's within the system. So here's one of the management packs that I've exported, and you can see that all the layout is exactly as you would see it on the screen. So you don't need to reformat if you want to send the reports on to other people within your organization. So I'm just going to come back out of that. Where I want to just jump very quickly, I'm conscious we're running out of time here now, into the consolidation piece. And when you go to the consolidation entity, obviously that's bringing all the information together for you from, in my case, the 3 entities that I have. Obviously, you don't have the same modules here. You don't have sales or purchases or a bank. You do have the option to do straightforward journals. So there might be some share movement, or that needs to be done post consolidation. The console level can also be set up to eliminate intercompany transactions as well from your reporting. And if we look at the GL Explorer here, and I'm just going to expand all of these out. So before we had our category, subcategory, and GL within the entity. At the console level, I'm now starting to see which entity is actually making up these transactions within the system. So if I go to the top level where I'm looking at all my dimension codes, you can see that recurrent fees for year to date, September 19, I'm getting transactions coming through from the 3 different entities, one for 9 million, one for 1.2, one for 4.7 million. And that's breaking it down on that. I appreciate that this has been a very quick whirlwind tour of AccountsIQ. If you do have any other questions, please reach out to us, sales@accountsiq.com. As I said, there's a couple of case studies there, a couple of quotes from some great clients of ours, Whale and Dolphin, Linesight, Salamanca Group, McGregor Boyle, Luzerne. Just a small selection of some of the many varied types of clients that we deal with. We operate across pretty much all sectors within industry. As I said, predominantly UK and Ireland, but we have clients in the 4 corners of the world, where we're taking more on constantly. So as I said, thanks for joining me today. Apologies, a little bit rushed, and we only had half an hour penciled in for this, but please get in touch. We can happy to have a chat. Absolutely no pressure to commit, buy, or anything from our side. We love just kind of exploring and discovering with new clients and understanding their processes and that. The phone number is there, and as I said, the email address is sales@accountsiq.com.